Commentary from Florence Scovel Shinn's The Secret Door to Success. From Chapter 1, Weapons Ye Know Not Of, Florence talks about how important it is to learn to follow the intuition, not just to do what the rational mind says, and to simply keep doing the same things in life that don't get us what we truly want. Florence says, "We have the power of choice. We may follow the magic path of intuition or the long and hard road of experience by following the reasoning mind. By following the superconscious, we attain the heights. In the intuition are the pictures of eternal youth and eternal life, where death itself is overcome. We have the power to impress the subconscious mind with the picture of eternal youth and eternal life. The subconscious, being simply power without direction, carries out the idea, and we have our bodies transmuted into the body which can never die." And Florence goes on to say how instead we imprint the opposite, pictures of disease, old age, and death onto the subconscious, and these orders are carried out. So she says we must give a new order. "Let me now express the divine idea in my mind, body, and affairs." And we impress this by repeating it. And if persisted, we will see amazing changes, and these often will come in the form of new ideas. How do we know what the divine idea of our life is? Florence teaches that it often flashes in our consciousness and it often seems too good to be true, but very few people fulfill their destinies. The first step to your success: be glad you are yourself. And Florence goes on to say how people enjoy various things in life, so take that same joy and learn to apply it to life, the game of life. When Florence says game of life, and I feel what Florence is trying to say, is to learn the rules of life that allow you to have all the things you want. See it with joy and wonder, instead of seeing reality and taking it as final fact and getting lost in nightmares of wrong thinking and fears. And what is the goal of the game of life? That all conditions in your life are permanently perfect. And how do you do this? Florence teaches you, instead of thinking your way through life, learn to use your intuition. Let us take a look at Chapter 2, I Give Unto You Power. In this chapter, Florence is teaching you to realize there is only one power. Do not divide it and give power to something else, like evil. Florence teaches that evil comes from man's own vain imaginings. Withdraw all power from evil, and it is powerless to hurt. Florence says the only person to change is yourself. As you change, all the conditions around you will change. People will change. Because remember what mystics are teaching. All that you experience on the outside, that you call reality, Caesar's world, it is all but a reflection of what is going on in your own consciousness. Just like when you go to bed and dream, it's a mix of literal and symbolic representation. In Chapter 3, Be Strong, Fear Not, Florence says, every negative situation in your life is a crystallized thought. It has been built up out of your own vain imaginings. So when you take a look at your life right now, and you see the different things that you want to change, things that you may even feel are negative, what if you were for a moment to realize all these things are just symbolic of crystallized negative thought? What is made can be unmade, and you can make what you want to make when you learn to use the powers of your mind. In Florence's case, she often uses the power of word, because carefully crafted words can harness your imagination, can steer your feelings, and these are the mediums that paint the dream of life. Florence tells of a quote from Bernard Shaw's book Back to Methuselah. Adam invented murder, birth and death, and all negative conditions. It was the development of the reasoning mind. Of course, Adam stands for generic man. In the Garden of Eden stage, man functioned only in the superconscious. Whatever he desired or required was always at hand. With the development of the reasoning mind came the fall of man. He reasoned himself into lack, limitations, and failure. He earned his bread by the sweat of the brow, instead of being divinely provided for. What if, before we became a body and a mind, we were simply consciousness, and this consciousness fell into a dream, and this dream became what we call reality? But what if now the consciousness could wake up in the dream of life, and lucidly and nobly dream a perfect and wondrous dream of life? Well, these mystics have been telling you since the birth of time that you can do that. Florence says to take this statement: I only desire that which infinite intelligence desires through me. I claim that which is mine by divine right, and under grace in a perfect way. You will then cease desiring the wrong things, and the right desires will take their place. Your dreary desires are entered drearily. Your impatient desires are long delayed or violently fulfilled. It is important never to lose sight of this. Many unhappy situations have been brought about through dreary or impatient desires. And that's the thing, we desire so many things, but what is it that we truly want? And sometimes we just might not know. We think we know, but in the end we sometimes find what we thought we wanted, maybe that wasn't exactly what we wanted. Look at all the things you got through life, even different people you dated, and when you look back now, you may have no emotions towards those certain people or certain things, or maybe you wish you hadn't wasted your time on certain people or things. So take that statement and let the superfluous desires fade away and let your true heart's desire become even more concentrated and reign supreme. Taking a look at Chapter 4, The Glory of the Lord, Florence says, all life is vibration. You combine with what you notice, or you combine with what you vibrate to. If you are vibrating to injustice and resentment, you will meet it on your pathway at every step. You will certainly think it is a hard world and that everybody is against you. So if you find yourself noticing and putting energy into things that you don't like, stop it, because you will attract more of those experiences in your life. What do you want to notice instead? What do you want to attract more of in your life? And if you don't know, just look at what you don't like, and instead put your attention on what you would like instead. And it's a good exercise to do, to become aware of where our attention is, and to learn to replace it where we want to if it's not where we want it to be. And surely we will speedily groom our own heaven on earth. And as many mystics teach, do unto others what you want done unto you, because what you send out will come back to you. So the woman who refrains from criticizing saves herself from criticism. Critical people are always being criticized. They are living in that vibration. And Florence often equated certain things to give certain disorders of the body, such as criticism could lead to rheumatism, for acid thoughts produce acid in the blood, which causes pain in the joints. And Florence teaches a beautiful exercise using the inner eye to see the body of light. Florence says, see yourself daily bathed in the light of the Christ. This inner radiance is invincible power and dissolves anything not divinely planned. It dissolves all appearances of disease, lack, loss, or limitation. It dissolves adverse conditions or any weapon that is formed against you. So let us take a moment now and see ourselves bathed in the light of Christ. See your body illuminated with the most brilliant light. Let this radiate from within to all of mankind, so powerful that it dissolves everything that is not divinely planned. All appearances of disease, lack, loss, adverse conditions completely dissolved in this beautiful light, in this beautiful, powerful, and invincible light. And this will be a good practice to do daily, into sleep or upon awakening, or when you brush your teeth, tie it to a habit you already do. And now taking a look at Florence's Chapter 5, Peace and Prosperity. How can a person attain peace when his whole life is in a turmoil? By taking an affirmation. Florence teaches you may not be able to control your thoughts, but you can control your words, and eventually the word wins out. But as other mystics teach, you must persist. And truly, you have all of eternity, but let us start now and stick with it to our speedy success. And Florence teaches the importance of watching our faith market. This faith market can sometimes go down or even crash, usually from some unhappy situation that could have been prevented if only we had followed our intuition. Because Florence teaches that intuition is an unerring guide, so let us practice following it. To develop it, practice following it in little things, then it will be easier to trust in the bigger things. To realize the magic in our lives, to connect with divine guidance, protection, we must learn to be unmoved by adverse appearances. Because when we react, we perpetuate the adverse appearances. We give it life and energy. Instead, let us put it towards what we want instead. and learning to catch the feeling that it is already so, and revisiting this feeling until it becomes home. And thus all of life and its experiences come to reflect this gracefully. And Florence tells a story here. A friend told me a very interesting story. A man in the paper business in Kalamazoo, Michigan, has given away 1,000 of my books to his employees. He went into business on a small capital and gave up cold judgment and reasoning. He has built up a $12 million business by following leads and hunches. All his workers have a knowledge of metaphysical law. And this is such a great way to run any business, to base it on these mystical laws, and to teach those who work in the company the same mystical laws. He gave Florence's book to each of his employees. And we should have signs that say, "Watch your thoughts, watch your words." Florence says, "Let us now be careful in directing this dynamic force within us. Let us direct it to heal, bless, and prosper, and direct it in waves of good to the whole world. It goes out a mighty force, but noiseless. Thought, the strongest power in the universe, is without sound. Your goodwill sweeps all obstacles from your pathway, and your heart's desire is released for you. Gifts can only come to us if we can believe them possible, for everything comes through you, not to you. All life is vibration. Feel rich, and you attract riches. Feel successful, and you become successful. What is it that you want in your life? What is it that you would feel if you had what you wanted? Can you feel that? Learn to regularly nurture the garden in your mind by feeling the feelings you want to manifest. What are you seeing with your inner eye? What pictures are you inviting into your life? Where is it that you place your attention all day? Who are the different people you talk to in life? What are the different things you talk about? What are the different things in social media that you place your attention on? Because those are the things that are planting seeds and nurturing them or perpetuating what you have in your life. Florence says, "This sounds easy enough to do, but when a failure thought has become a habit, it takes eternal vigilance to dislodge it. That is when a powerful affirmation is needed. You cannot always control your thought, but you can control your word. And eventually the word impresses the subconscious and wins out. If you are in a negative state of mind, just take the statement, 'I look with wonder at that which is before me.' It creates an expectancy of something wonderful, and something wonderful will come to you. Cultivate the feeling that miracles and wonders are coming to pass. Cultivate a success expectancy. I look with wonder at that which is before me. I look with wonder at that which is before me." Florence goes on to say, very few people bring into life what is rightfully theirs. They live on the outskirts of their heart's desire. It always seems too good to be true. To the person spiritually awake, nothing is too good to be true. What in your life do you want? What feels too good to be true to you? It is now time to occupy your true heart's desire, to leave the outskirts, to dwell right in the bullseye of your heart. Florence says, "You combine with what you notice, so do not describe anything destructive, for you begin to combine with it. What is really yours? The blessings you bring to yourself through your spoken or silent word, the things you see with your inner eye. Only your doubts, fears, and resentments keep your good from you, so you have the power of your word, the power of your imagination. Use them to transcend all, and use them on a regular basis to make it habit, your way of life. Then all you can know is success. You will become so resilient, nothing can shake you." And Florence adds, if you hate or resent a situation, you have fastened it to you, for you attract what you fear or dislike. For example, someone has been unjust to you, and you are filled with wrath and resentment. You cannot forgive that person. Time rolls on, and another person does the same thing. It is because you have a picture of injustice engraved in your subconscious. History will repeat itself until you think you are cursed with misfortune and injustice. There is only one way to neutralize it. Be absolutely undisturbed by injustice and send goodwill to all concerned. My goodwill is a strong tower round about me. I now transmute all enemies into friends, all inharmony into harmony, all injustice into justice. You will be amazed at the working of the law. Often we like to criticize and vent, but little do we know we attract more of it to us. So instead, can we learn to paint and imagine with the mediums of our soul across the canvas of our heart and truly become the artist of our fate? And lastly, in this chapter, Florence says, do not look back and hash over hard times, or you will be drawn back into these conditions. Give thanks for the dawn of a new day. You must be immune to all discouragement and adverse appearances. So let us give thanks for yet a dawn of a new day. And if there's any one thing I notice in people who study these various mystics, many still struggle to not get tripped up by adverse appearances. Adverse appearances meaning that you don't see what you want. Instead, you're seeing with the senses what you don't want. But remember, this is just crystallized energy of old thought patterns. So just remind yourself not to fall into the trap of reacting to them and perpetuating them. And instead, your solution, your key, look to where you want to go. Thank these appearances for being the springboard to help you jump to where you do want to be. Use the momentum of any misery or unhappiness to transmute it and to turn water into wine, or to even walk on water. Chapter 7. In Nothing Be Anxious. Florence says, you can never do a thing you cannot see yourself doing, or fill a place you cannot see yourself filling. Not visualizing, forming a mental picture, this is a mental process that often brings wrong and limited results. It must be a spiritual realization, a feeling that you are already there, be in its vibration. So it's not about forcing a mental picture. Sometimes people say, I just can't visualize that I have what I want. But think of it more instead of a tuning in. Like when you have those light bulb moments. Sometimes when people are going for a walk, especially in nature, or they're doing something that relaxes them, brings them joy. Or maybe they're doing something mundane like a chore. And when you have these amazing glimpses that brings you a joy beyond words, that is a spiritual realization. Learn to tune into this. Practice makes perfect. However, it often takes great courage to follow intuition. It takes a Viking who is unafraid to sail in unknown seas. Claude Bragdon says, to live intuitively is to live fourth dimensionally. The magic path leads you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. It is invaluable in business. Most of us have lived most of our lives following the rational mind and the paradigm of cause and effect. You do this, you get that. But now we learn to sail on a different, more fine and subtle sea, the sea of our intuition. And we can call this 4D, the fourth dimension. And learning to do this, life will be filled with magic, miracles, and wonder. And I like to believe that's the point of life. And finally, let's take a little look at Chapter 8, Fearlessness. Florence once again says, you cannot accomplish anything you cannot see yourself accomplishing. These difficult feats are all a matter of poise and balance. Your success and happiness depend on your poise and balance. Trusting God is like walking a slack wire. Doubt and fear cause you to lose your balance and fall off into lack and limitation. Like the circus performer, it takes practice. No matter how many times you fall, try it again. Soon you will acquire the habit of poise and balance. Then the world is yours. You will walk joyfully into your kingdom. See yourself doing what it is you want to accomplish, and continue again and again until you have what you want. And no matter what you see on the outside, you learn to keep your poise and balance. And as you do this and your successes grow, it will become easier and easier. Ultimately, you will become master of your fate, your imagination, living the life you want to be living again and again, knowing your next life is this life and that it is already done. And this ends my commentary on Florence Scovel Shinn's The Secret Door to Success.